Welcome to Unlearning with Laura, the podcast where you get to rewire your mind, reclaim your power, and break generational cycles. I'm Laura Stiles, clinical hypnotherapist and mindset coach, and founder of The Mindful Generation, the place where parents come to transform their lives and live with more purpose and freedom. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Carry, a screen-free voice messaging device designed for families who want connection, safety and independence without giving children a smartphone. As conscious parents, we know smartphones are powerful tools, but they also come with pressure, distraction and risks that developing brains simply aren't built for. Carry, spelt K-A-R-R-I, offers an awesome alternative, allowing children to stay connected with the people who matter most, while protecting their emotional well-being and their childhood. You can take advantage of 15% off the Messenger One device. Just use code MindfulGen15 at the checkout. Check the link in the show notes to find out more. But for now, let's tune in. Hiya, how are you? I hope you're well. You'll have to excuse me, I've just had a massive coughing fit, so I sound a bit croaky and I'm hoping that my throat will clear as I talk, but I'm up against it with time and I would like to get this episode out today because I'm already late with this one. So I hope everyone is well. We have beautiful sunshine in the UK today. Wherever you are in the world, I hope it's also sunny and nice, and at the time of recording, we're heading into the weekend. So I hope everyone has a good one. But I want to speak today a little bit about something that's been happening in the news in the UK this week. And that is that as of the 15th of June, which was a few days ago, the UK government announced that children under 16 will be banned from social media. So that's TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, X, Facebook, all of it. The rules come into effect in spring 2027. And my first reaction was obviously really happy, super glad that this step has been taken. And this is something I have been really passionate about and vocal about and, actively involved in for quite a long time now. I am a regional leader for the Smartphone Free Childhood. I have delivered talks on their behalf. I had a stall at the summer fair last year to share knowledge on their campaign and talk about it more and create awareness. And this is a great step. And I'm really surprised at how quickly this has happened as well. And it might not feel that quick for a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to our government, this is quite a quick decision. And so I kind of wanted to talk about two different sides of this today, because I really want to celebrate what this moment represents, because it really is extraordinary. But I also want to ask a few questions that I think deserve a little bit of honest airtime. And that's just coming from my own opinion and my gut feeling. So, first of all, a couple of years ago, this wasn't even being debated in Westminster. It was not on the agenda at all. And it's now government policy. And that's pretty epic. And it definitely did not happen because of politicians. It happened because of parents and lots of campaigns doing the right thing. So ordinary mums and dads having honest conversations at school gates, in WhatsApp groups, so many groups I'm part of which are relating to the smartphone free childhood. Like literally my phone pops off all the time when there's news around what people are saying in relation to this law coming into play. And in recent months, there's been so much chat around it and different counties doing different things and, which county is going to win when it comes to banning phones from schools during the school day. And, all that kind of stuff's been going on, which is great. So this change is happening because of the people who refused to accept that constant exposure to addictive, algorithmically driven platforms was simply the price of modern childhood. And I've seen the impact of this close up. Excuse me. I've watched this movement, the smartphone free childhood, go from a conversation to a cultural shift and now to law. This matters because social media in its current form is genuinely not designed for children, and it is absolutely designed to capture attention. And let's be frank, it's used to monetize engagement, and children are extraordinarily vulnerable to that. If you've been here for a while and you've listened to many of the episodes, you may remember the one with Jade Gooding and Pete Clifford, They both spoke on their episodes powerfully about the real-world impact of early social media and smartphone use on children. The anxiety, the comparison, the distorted sense of self, the sleep disruption, like none of that is an accident. And the research backs all of this up. Roblox, excessive YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, none of it is neutral for developing minds. And we all know this. So yes, the policy is welcome and I think it's well overdue. And I am proud to be part of the movement that helped to make it happen. And I was also very pleased to get a phone call from BBC Radio Wiltshire on Monday to see if I could speak to them very early in the morning on Tuesday to talk about it. It didn't end up happening because it was just too early. It didn't fit with the school run, unfortunately. And it would have been really good to have a debut radio segment all around this. So that is a shame that it didn't happen. But yeah, great that, lots of people are talking about it. There's lots of exposure around this. So I want to also talk about something that is sitting with me a little uneasily around all of this. And I'm going to be very honest. I like to be transparent because I think it's important to just be able to hold two things at once. Like it's never kind of black or white, is it? So I want to be able to say that I support the goal. I do have questions around the method. And what's making me pause is to enforce this ban, social media platforms will be required to verify the ages of all UK users. So not just children, everyone, every single person creating a new account in the UK will likely need to prove they are over 16. And I don't know how it's going to work with people who currently have an account on, let's say, Instagram or YouTube. I'm assuming a verification method will be brought into play. I need to learn a bit more about it. But my question is, how are they going to do that? Because according to the government's own fact sheet, it says, and I quote, it could be as simple as a facial recognition check. So it's either that or you could upload a government-issued ID, so a passport or a driving licence. Now, let me be clear, I am not fear-mongering, but I do like to question a lot of things involves our personal private data. And I'm not saying the government is evil or anything like that, but what I'm saying is I think that we should be allowed to ask what happens next with the data. Because the reality is the same platforms that we don't trust to protect our children's minds are now being handed the infrastructure to collect our faces, our government IDs, our financial data, and the same tech companies, so Meta, TikTok's parent company, which is ByteDance, Google, all of these business models are built on harvesting and monetizing personal data. So I think the methods are going to include either facial recognition, credit card checks, or government-issued IDs. And sensitive information like your face, your finances, or your ID could end up with the same platforms and third-party verification services that have already come under fire for how they handle user data. So security and privacy experts have already flagged this. I think there's probably loads of conversation going on around this behind the scenes. And critics warn that the checks are easy to avoid. They put everyone's ID and data at risk of breaches and were rushed in with very little political scrutiny. So the part that I keep coming back to is that it's probably not just about social media. It's probably not all about keeping our kids safe, but I think it's about normalising age verification infrastructure across the entire internet. And once the infrastructure exists, I think it's going to kind of get to the stage where handing over your face or your passport to access online platforms will feel normal. And that kind of doesn't sit right with me. So I am speculating here, by the way. Like, this is all from like my own opinion and my own research and what I feel. I don't have the answers. I just have a feeling. And it's the kind of feeling that as conscious parents, we just have to take seriously. We know that the system and governments and a lot of the wider structures around us don't always have our best interests at heart. And we've learned that over the years. And I think that once you have children, you kind of start to notice more and more where things feel a little bit can make you feel uneasy and feel a bit scary. And so I'm just thinking, let's pay attention to this. That's all I'm thinking to myself. And I just don't think we should sleepwalk into it. The other thing is about sort of incremental changes is it does rarely announce itself as what it actually is. It starts with something that most people agree with, so like protecting children, and then it builds from there. And the social media age gate normalises the same kind of plumbing as other forms of digital verification. And once that kind of process is in place, it's really hard to take back out. So if you think about on your phone, if you have a smartphone, you may have already noticed you're using facial recognition to enter your phone, and that's really normal. And these are all ways that I feel like it's almost just getting us used to that system. So yeah, it leaves me feeling a little bit uneasy around the whole digital ID that I'm not a fan of. I don't like the sound of it at all. I just think that it leaves us in a place of just being very controlled in the future, and I'm not down for that. So where does that leave me? Well, honestly, I am in a very nuanced place. It doesn't feel hugely comfortable. I am really happy. I really feel like, yes, I do believe children under 16 should not be on social media, full stop. We've seen the dangers. I mean, I had an incident a few weeks ago in the play park where my eldest was being filmed by an older kid. And yeah, it was quite a negative and scary incident. A head teacher had to get involved. It wasn't great. So that's the very first experience I've had, by the way, of something like that happening to one of my children. So yeah, I've witnessed and heard many stories from clients, many stories from guests on this podcast. And I do believe this movement is great. Parents coming together, talking honestly, refusing to accept the status quo. It has been one of the most powerful things that I've witnessed in my years as an advocate for conscious parenting. Very proud to be a part of it. And I think we need to just read the small print. And I think we need to just ask who benefits from the verification infrastructure being put in place. Just think we need to be careful about normalising the idea that you have to hand over your face or your personal ID to participate in online life. And there may be a stage where a lot of people and a very big movement will be starting to completely say no thank you to that and just take themselves off social media. I think we're going to start to see that next. So in my personal position right now, I am quite hesitant to complete any new age verification process that requires biometric data or ID, especially if it's submitted to a private tech company. And that's my personal choice. I'm not telling anyone else what to do. That's just like my opinion and how I feel. But I am saying, yeah, think about it. Just kind of do your own research. Have this conversation with friends, partners, family. Start to kind of think about what this means. And don't just comply because everyone else is. I feel like a lot of people are kind of sleepwalking through life. And I just don't want it to get to the stage where it's too late and we've just all gone through the motions and it gets to 2 or 3 years' time and we're like, oh shit, I wish I hadn't have complied with that. So yeah, I hope this episode doesn't feel depressing. It feels like it might be a depressing episode. But no, I'm just being honest and I like to just explain what's happening in my head. And I really, honestly, am all for the ban. I really do think that, you know, when it comes to our children's behaviour, brain science, biology, this is a good thing for their mental health. And so that, yes, is very positive. I'd love to know what you guys think of all of this. What do you think of what I've shared here? Please let me know. Comments within the podcast, whether you listen on Spotify or Apple, do go ahead and comment. I would love a bit of engagement. It would be great to kind of open up this conversation to others and let's just talk about it, judgment free. It'd be great to hear your opinions or DM me on Instagram or email me. I'm Laura at mindful-generation.com and I'm always open to having a little email chat. And also, do you know what? Another side to the coin is home education and home ed parents and apps that they may use for educating their children at home. YouTube's probably one of them. And so I wonder, is that going to bring a whole new, fresh bunch of challenges for that community? If you are one of them, let me know. I'd love to chat about it. As well as parents of neurodivergent children, I think that, if it's really hard for them to socialise in real life and they find solace and community through apps, then is this going to bring a huge amount of challenge for those families as well? All of this is stuff that's come up and that I'm learning about, and I'm interested to hear more about and hear from you. Is this something that actually, no, I'm not all for it? And is this for you like a real negative? Yeah, let's chat about it. Let's be open-minded. I hope this has helped today, and I hope that you have found value in it. If you would like to give me a follow on Instagram, I am at The Mindful Generation, if you're not following already. We're coming into that time of year that's starting to feel busy in terms of, the final term of school. If you've got school kids, sports day, school trip. We're probably thinking about arranging childcare for the summer, all that jazz, and juggling the summer. How much annual leave do you have if you're employed? Are you finding that mismatch between your amount of holiday that you have and the kids being off? Let me know how you're navigating all of that, because it can be a really tricky time of year. Speaking of time of year, this coming Sunday, we have the summer solstice. And it's such a beautiful time of year for just reflecting back on how the first half of the year has been, what we'd like to bring in or intentions we would like to set for the second half of the year. I always love to go to Avebury, which is fairly local to me in Wiltshire, to go and set my intentions and do a little bit of a journaling practice around this time of year. And I did exactly that a few days ago with a lovely group of women, female founders who are fairly local. And it was so nice. I just love that sense of community. When you're a solo business owner and you're working from home most days, it's really nice to have that in-person connection. Anyway, I wanted to share the journal prompts that I used on the day, because I thought it might be helpful for anyone else who wants to just finish this episode with a mini journal practice, or you can just pause here and save this for Sunday. So here we go. The first prompt is: what 5 things can you celebrate from the first half of this year? Number 2, what do you need to leave behind in order to step into your power for the rest of this year? Number 3, what are you telling yourself about what is possible for you? Number 4, imagine you have 0 fear. You've completely removed fear from your life. It's the 31st of December, 2026. What did you achieve? And number 5, I want you to name 5 material items and 3 audacious goals, whether they're personal or work-related, but just knowing that you could achieve all of these things this year, what would they be? Right. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that practice if you did get involved. And thank you for listening. Please do like, share, subscribe, follow along. It really does help me a lot with growing this podcast. So I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.